cancel it, and all bets are off, and all hell is going to break out. Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that because that's Israel's decision, but as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think a lot of them are dead. I think a lot of the hostages are dead. I think it's a great human tragedy what's happened, how people can be that mean to do. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it, but from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
Hamas said on Monday it would stop releasing Israeli hostages until further notice over what it called Israeli violation of the ceasefire agreement, raising the risk of reigniting the conflict. The Palestinian militant group was set to release more Israeli hostages on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and other Palestinians held in Israeli detention, as had been happening over the last 3 weeks. A Hamas military wing spokesperson said Israeli violations include delaying Palestinians from returning to northern Gaza, targeting Palestinians with Israeli shelling and gunfire, and stopping aid from entering the Strip. Israel's defense minister said Hamas's announcement violated the ceasefire deal and that he had instructed the military to be at the highest level of readiness in Gaza. Protesters in Tel Aviv demanded the safe return of all hostages on Monday.
We are getting used to seeing our people getting back, sometimes horrible conditions, but alive. And we're expecting for this deal to continue until its very end, and by the conditions fully.
A group representing hostage families called on mediators to stop the deal from breaking down, while a group representing Israeli military veterans accused the government of intentionally sabotaging the agreement. So far, 16 of the 33 hostages to be released in the first 42-day phase of the deal have come home. An additional 5 Thai hostages were returned in an unscheduled release. In exchange, Israel has released hundreds of prisoners and detainees. Meanwhile, Gazans are trying to rebuild their lives in the shattered enclave. The unexpected announcement comes amid growing doubts over an already fragile ceasefire that has largely held since it began on January 19th. Although there have been some incidents in which Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces and Hamas delays in providing names of hostages it planned to free. Aid agencies say the amount of aid getting into Gaza has increased since the ceasefire. Talks began last week on a second stage of the ceasefire deal, but have shown little sign of serious progress.